Welcome to Single Tree Nation. I'm your man, Charlie Eblin, the host and owner of Single Tree Woodfire Barbecue. We are here to build community through undeniable hospitality, storytelling, and the perfect plate of barbecue. Welcome back to Single Tree Nation, guys. I'm your man, Charlie Eblin, and as always, we have our illustrious co-host, Mr. Derry Wells.
What's up, everybody?
Look, we have a pretty cool episode today. I'm very excited about. For those of you who can see, we have Mr. Travis McVey, the founder of Heroes Vodka.
Hello. Thanks for having me, Charlie.
Thanks for coming to hang out with us. Before we get too off into the story of what Heroes Vodka is and who Travis McVey is,
right.
You have a tasty beverage that we're
Yeah, it's always to start a good
us.
story off with a cocktail before you get started in the story. So
Agreed.
But yeah, this is our oat packaging. We'll get into the packaging a little bit later, but we'll go ahead and make it to some good use. This is what I call the Founder's Tea. It's basically an Arnold Palmer if you just add some mint leaves, but I went to 3 stores and got no mint leaves. So
we can envision the mint leaves.
And I think I can make without the shaker. I just pull it after. Very easy. Just half and half of lemonade.
Okay.
Sweet tea. It's just how strong you want your drinks, but I usually put like a 1.5 ounce of vodka in it.
Add a shot or 6 to your beverage. All right. Please drink responsibly when you
yes.
when you are drinking any alcohol whatsoever.
Now add some sweet tea. Yeah, these are very smooth, so that's why I say you got to watch yourself with this drink right here.
It'll sneak up on you, huh?
I might have made these a little strong.
I love the summertime American flag garnish on the
Yeah,
lemon
so
wedge.
this is made
amazing.
with cane sugar too, which is really, really cool because you can make this without any sugar. You can get sugar-free lemonade and.
Now,
same
before
thing,
we
sweet
get
tea.
into vodka talk, is the Gold Peak tea your preference?
No, not really. I just grab whatever sweet tea I think, but what caught my eye is made with cane sugar. I'd rather have the cane
Okay.
sugar than all this other
Yeah.
types of sweeteners out there. But I do like sweet tea, but I've kind of weaned myself off of that.
This is probably the only kind of sweet tea that I drink. Is the Arnold Palmer version of
Okay.
I
sweet
got a
tea.
drink over there too for the.
Trent,
Trent's got
Mixer over there.
it. Trent's got to have a tasty beverage. He didn't have to. Oh, thank you, my friend. Thank you very much.
thank you, Travis.
So
Appreciate that.
we will squeeze our.
Yeah, but it's kind of for a little 4th of July. It's a great drink for coming up 4th on the back porch, on your patio, out the lake.
Hanging out. Yep.
Yeah.
I like it.
This is also one of those drinks you can pre-make.
Yeah, that's
Like
yeah.
that's
Cheers, ladies. and
Cheers.
gentlemen.
Cheers. There you go. Cheers, gentlemen. Cheers to you over there.
Trent.
It's a great summertime drink.
Okay, that'll sneak up on somebody.
Yeah, we used to make
Yeah.
big pictures of it. It's a great little party you have at the house. Very easy to put together. Just takes 3 ingredients. But the mint leaves does make a big difference. If you ever try those, you'll
I
really like it.
can taste the mint in my brain.
Right. Do you muddle it, the
Right.
mint?
You can.
Okay.
I do sometimes. Sometimes I'll put everything in the shaker and shake it up real good.
Okay,
and
there you
get
go.
like
There you go.
that.
That gives you the same thing, same effect. So that's a tasty little treat.
Yeah.
It's refreshing.
It's
You
wonderful.
know how a lot of drinks get like heavy, like once you add the stuff
Yeah.
to it, like that's refreshing.
I could see drinking that and playing around the golf and being real happy.
Yeah, that's why we do a lot.
Yeah, yeah. I got a feeling we would. Would you?
Yep, I got it.
I got a feeling we would have a pretty
Yeah,
good
they call
time.
it the
with that.
Arnold Palmer, then it turns into John Daly when you add the vodka with the Founder's Teas when you add the mint leaves, I think.
There you go. All right, now we got three steps of wonderfulness.
That's right. I like
Now-
that we can reference all the drinks too, give everybody their props as we build it up to the
Right,
founder's
build it all the way
drink.
up.
That's right.
Hey, look, I will give Daly his props. Trent, what was that? What's his? Good boy.
Yeah.
That good. It's a seltzer, isn't it?
It's a vodka seltzer. I don't know if he's got a plain vodka, but I think it's like a seltzer like that.
Yeah, but then it's the vodka and sweet tea seltzer, lemonade, whatever.
Yeah,
And
it's a pre-made cocktail.
Yeah.
RTD is what they call them.
Trent and I played in a tournament. Was it last year we played in that tournament?
Yeah, I think so.
Which we're going to play in that same tournament again in August, by the way. I don't think I've told you that.
Two Gregs.
Both Trotters were with us as well. Yes, Trotter and Greg were with us as
So
well.
Richard Fleet's golf tournament he has coming up.
So that one's in September.
Okay.
The one I'm talking, we play in that one too, but the one that I'm talking about now is
You're fine.
is my cousin's golf tournament, Megan Thomas's golf tournament, the Heart of Hearing Foundation.
Okay, I've heard of that. Yeah.
So she was the weather girl, the morning weather girl at Channel 2.
Okay.
For quite a few years, and she's legally deaf. She can't hear anything.
Right.
She wears hearing aids and all the stuff. So her foundation raises money to buy hearing aids for someone that can't afford them.
Right.
Yeah. So because most insurance companies don't cover hearing aids,
No, that's unfortunate.
which is crazy, right?
very expensive.
So,
if they
Y'all
do.
have opened my eyes. Pre-show discussion, that statement there.
Yeah.
Y'all have opened my eyes to some things in the insurance world that are quite unique
They're
to
very
us commoners.
expensive,
Like that's
You've gotten a whole bunch of things.
I
You got
did.
some things coming up that are going to open your eyes too.
no, well, I can't
Yeah.
wait.
How
Let's
old are
go.
you now?
45.
Oh, no,
yeah, I
10
got something
years.
that's going to open my eyes. Like, woo! Like that.
You hit those 50s, that's when they start cracking more the knees. And
Oh, jeez.
That scares me, Travis.
Yeah.
I
I'm
can't
45 as well, and they already crack. I don't need them to do it anymore. But not enough about me. What we do, we're goofy.
Yeah.
So you have not always made vodka.
No, I worked I was in the Army first at 16, the Marine Corps at 18.
You
and-
joined the Army at 16?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was kind of a problem child at one time. So,
Okay.
my parents got divorced like when I was around 12 or 13. It took a big impact on me, but I didn't walk in my parents' shoes, so I didn't judge them. They loved each other. Just a lot of things happened, and so I just kind of kept it to myself. But my grades started falling, started hanging out with kind of the wrong people. It was the 80s, rock and roll was going, everybody was partying and stuff like that. So my grades started going down. At one time I could run a mile like at 4:19, 4:21. I won the Junior Olympics at 14 and under. Cross country star and all that, but after my freshman year, after that, I just
419. You can't gloss over that. So
Yeah.
That's moving.
I saw there's a thing on Netflix right now, and there's a Kenya lady that's trying to break the 4-minute mile barrier. There's no woman has
Yeah.
ever done it.
right.
She's ran a mile, I think it was last year, or it might have been 2 years ago, in 4 minutes and 7 seconds.
Wow.
And this month in June, sometime, I don't know when, she is in Paris going to try to break the 4-minute mile barrier as a woman, be the first woman to ever do it.
amazing.
To watch 4-minute mile, that's 15 miles an hour. You're running.
Wow. That's impressive. Yeah,
I'm
the
gonna
whole
tell you
time.
right
There's
now.
the key here. Like that's
I can't fall out of a C-130 at 15 miles an hour. Okay, to run that fast is incredible. So to run it,
Yeah.
that's insane.
Yeah, I was
dude.
just a natural. I mean, I trained a lot. I had a great coach, and my dad ran with me every day. Then my coach seen the talent in me and started doing the drills that you need to do. That a lot of 440. One laps you got to do that consistently. Then you go the half mile, then the mile. But I just kind of got burnt out on it too, and I kind of rebelled against my dad after they got divorced, and I quit running a lot and everything like that. So then they seen my grades, so they was going to put me in Castle Heights, the military school over here in
Yep.
Lebanon. It's like, no, I'll just join the Army. That's when they had a split program. So I went to Fort Knox after my junior summer for basic. Was it boot camp or basic with the Army? Because I forget.
Basic.
Basic. So
Yep.
went back, got about 2 weeks late into my senior year, but they let me come back and made up my work. Graduated, went to AIT school at Fort Jackson. And there I just did 71 Lima. I was just an admin in the Army. But
Yeah.
came back, worked at UPS for a little while. A friend of ours got me a pretty good job there at the airport.
So were you in the reserves?
I was in reserves, yeah.
Okay.
So I went back. I don't think they have that program anymore where you can go in at 16 like that. I think they did away with it. But came back to same town, same people. You go back to the same thing. You need a totally different
that was that
environment.
hard,
Yeah.
huh?
And my brother was a Marine. So I always loved the uniform. I love, the honor, courage, commitment, and all that. I love the Army too. But, I always thought my brother was a little tougher, so I was going to prove something to him too. So I joined the Marines when '03, infantry, security forces. So I became a Hollywood Marine. I was north of the Mason-Dixon. So back then I went to San Diego there and then went to infantry school and I tanked demolition. So I did that. But then they had a White House screening
Now,
team.
how does it work? Do you have to go through boot?
Marine Corps doesn't accept that. So that was
Okay.
that's another challenge itself. So I show up with, it was like a pink ID card. Then, the red one, the reserves ones we had back in the day.
Yeah.
You may not. This is back in 1989, I think, when I showed up.
I remember seeing them.
So you get there, and I just made the drill instructors, he just had a
Even
big smile on
worse.
his face. So
Yeah.
they said they had to recondition my mind. So I had to get up 30 minutes early every morning to, I think, to grab your ankles and go up and down and dig. And they was always on me, just for that, which made me a better Marine. It was pretty hard. You only weighed like 138, 140 pounds, but I could run like the wind. I ran.
Yeah.
I did my 3 miles in 16 flat, 1550 around 16 flat, then. So I've lost a little bit of what I had before, but I still could run really good. So did really well in my scores, marksmanship and all that. And that's when the White House screening team came out and interviewed a bunch of us. And
So how long were you in the Marine Corps before the White House?
I came straight out
Got that call.
of infantry school. So I've been in boot camp's 13 weeks, went home for 2 weeks. Infantry school is 8 to 12 weeks. So say 24, 26 weeks. Like
6 months.
6 months. Yeah.
So you were.
I went to boot camp in March, late March of '89. Showed up in Washington D.C. in October of that year.
So your total military experience was 2 years
2 years.
with Army and
2
Marines?
years with the Army, then the Marines, and then I just went to reserve stuff for a little while in the Army. I didn't go a whole lot with that.
Yeah.
I did my training. That's why I knew pretty quickly I needed to get out of there, and I wanted to be a Marine.
So you not even 3 years in, and you're on White House duty.
Yeah, I didn't see I was 19 years old when I showed up there. So you have to go through a screening program. They do a big background investigation. They go back to your hometown, talk to all your teachers and all that stuff, and then you spend.
Hang on. I'm sorry to interject. I got a phone call 5-6 months ago about a kid. And it was, there were names behind this gentleman, or letters behind this gentleman's name that I didn't know what they stood for, but he had a fairly big title.
Could be NCIS or what's the Army's CID?
CID.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I knew it was a legit phone call because he gave me very detailed credentials. But this kid apparently, I guess, then was getting a background check of XYZ to go a little higher up or something.
Yeah, it's getting a security clearance, so they have TS levels.
Okay.
Like that.
That's kind of cool.
They have
It was a great kid. I didn't have a problem sharing, what that kid had, but I just thought he was just doing due diligence.
Anytime you go, so when you're in the military, you get a security clearance. It's nothing, right? You have some operational knowledge. That's really about it,
yeah.
right?
Okay.
It's nothing that the general public can't find out, and you just hear it first. And then if you get a job that's a little bit more, then you got to go through another screening.
Okay.
A little bit more through another little screening. And it goes all the way up, right? So it goes all the way up to commander in chief. My sister married a gentleman who was in intelligence for the Army. And then he went to warrant officer school. And so that's warrant officers are in between enlisted, but not officers.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
They don't really answer to anybody.
Right.
Yeah, they got a
So
great job.
it's like a CW5, a chief warrant officer 5, highest level you can be as a chief warrant officer. Can tell a sergeant major to kiss his rear end,
Right.
and there's no repercussions.
Okay.
And he
Okay.
can tell any officer to go kiss his rear end,
Yeah.
and there's no
A lot of them are
repercussions.
helicopter pilots too. You'll see a lot
Yeah,
of
Okay.
helicopter
yeah, a lot of
Okay.
helicopter pilots.
Yeah.
There's CWBs. Anyway, so he becomes a chief, and he's doing his thing, and so he gets through school, and when he gets done with school, they call anybody and everybody for his security, because the job that he was going to do in intelligence required his background check to go as deep as everyone in his wife's family had to be vetted.
Wow.
So
Okay.
like they called me and wanted name, address, our last 3 addresses, social, all of my stuff, like the whole deal, because he couldn't tell his wife what building he was in on base.
That's impressive.
Like, I mean, it was one of those levels of security, but
Right.
Yeah.
it's crazy when you start.
I just
getting
thought it was
into some of
unique
this
because I got one of those calls. So you said that they were calling back to hometown.
Yes,
you
one
know?
of our things we're
So-
on presidential support duty, so we
Right.
perform ceremonies and security for the President of the United States, high-ranking officials, and foreign dignitaries like that. Will be the Marines, like the Army has the Old Guard that does certain things in Arlington and all that stuff. With the Marines, we kind of do everything. Like we'll be at Camp David, sometimes we'll be at the Pentagon for a full honor arrival. You'll be at the White House for a state dinner.
Okay.
Or you'll be doing a full honor a full honors funeral at Arlington or a firing party, you know, like that. So you have to go through ceremonial drill school too. Usually while you're waiting for your clearance to go through, you'll be going through ceremonial drill school, learning all that, which is about 6 months of intense close order drill and all that stuff, which is quite fun at 19 years old, out in the heat and the wool uniform and stuff like that.
Gosh.
But times I wish I could go back to now, you know, that they're over with.
But it's super cool to see when you really get it locked in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We just had the Marine Corps 250th birthday's coming up, so they're here at Murfreesboro, the silent drill team. Now, I wasn't on the silent drill team. I was on the ceremonial drill team. We was out there with all of them. I could do a little bit, not like that.
What's
you
the
know?
difference in the two?
The two is a silent drill team. That's all they do. They spin the rifles, throw them up in the air. Now we'll do close order drill. Now we don't throw them up in the air and spin them. We'll do like to music movements like that, putting your bayonet on to music like that. So you got to learn the notes and the beats of that too while you're out there in formation at Marine Barracks 8th. And if you've never been, I encourage everybody to go. If you're in D.C., they have a Friday evening parade and a sunset parade at Iwo Jima in front of that memorial, so which has been going on for
cool.
years.
That's
So,
incredible.
Yeah, some of the best ceremonial and some of the best music. The president's own bands there, the Drum and Bugle Corps, some of the best musicians in the world.
That's
there, so
awesome.
It's pretty neat.
So you're 19 years old
Yeah.
in D.C.,
1989, President George H.W. Bush is the president of the United States.
hanging out with GW,
Didn't see him very much. Thought Barbara a couple times.
right?
Yeah.
So what did you? How much longer were you in the Marine Corps?
I was there about almost close to 2 years, or a year and a half, I forget. But then I went to the Fleet 2nd Battalion, 8th Marines, where I was a section leader of a weapons company. I did a deployment to Okinawa, mainland Japan, South Korea. And then I spent the rest of my time there, came back to Camp Lejeune, EAS. Then I became part of the reserve unit, infantry unit, used to be here in Nashville, and got deployed to Guantanamo Bay in 94, 95, and then I got out after that.
Guantanamo. I bet that was a vacation.
Oh god, that place is nothing but cactus and lizards and a thing called banana rats, which we ate some of them. It's looks like a half rat and half possum. But you eat MREs the whole time out there. You know, you ration water.
Fresh protein sounded good, right?
And this is before the Gitmo. For the prisoners got there from the terrorism, we had a lot of Cuban refugees. This guy's is Bill Clinton's reelection. And he said, you know, that they could all come over kind of in a press conference, kind of like that, if I remember right. But someone probably reminded him of Jimmy Carter's reelection. You know, the boat left that sunk his presidency there in Miami. So they hauled them all back, and they put a bunch of them in Cuba, and they started kind of rioting down there, got in the water supply. We had to send all the dependents home. So they started sending them around. This is pre-invasion of Haiti. A lot of people forget that we invaded Haiti.
Yeah.
I thought we was just a cover for that when they sent us down there, that we was going to jump on over there. It was just kind of distraction. But I was in charge of a camp. You know, it was just a bunch of Haitian refugees. All of them were HIV positive because that's what they do. They release all their people that has diseases or real bad criminals a lot of the time. But there's also some very sweet people in there. You know, I met this family. This guy was just a potter. I think he got caught with a Bible in his house. You know, and just crazy things like that.
It's crazy.
The civilians, and I'm speaking on that side of all this, we are so oblivious to what really goes on.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break.
Okay,
And
yeah.
we're going to come back and we're going to talk about oblivious. We'll be right back.
She was about to sign. The payments looked fine until I ran the numbers. They were overcharging her by $5,412. One call later, we flipped the script. Better price, lower rate, $5,000 saved. This happens every week. Before you sign, call me. The 615negotiator.com. I find what they don't want you to see.
Welcome back, guys. I'm your man, Charlie. our illustrious co-host, Mr. Derry Wells, sitting here having an amazing cocktail and hanging out with our man, Travis McVey from Heroes Vodka. We are talking about the things that go on that nobody knows about.
Yeah.
Civilians are oblivious. And I have a few friends in the military, so you hear things and different stuff, and I try to stay included, whether it's through social medias or whatever. But we really, as a civilian, don't know what's going on. I mean, we just don't. And
by the time things make it, and you can confirm or deny, but in my experience, by the time things make it to the media, it's 24 to 72 hours old.
right.
Right. You know, I mean, it's, you know, current events, right? This last thing we just did in Iran, you know, that had been in motion for weeks.
Yeah.
Right.
And they forget about the meticulous training you do every day. Like, and there's people training in the jungles, the mountain warfare, the jungle warfare, desert survival, all that stuff constantly going on, you know, to get ready for the next generation of warriors.
It's just wild because the civilian side of things, and like my brother is a DoDEA employee, so he occasionally will have, you know, orders for XYZ or the base that he's on, that kind of thing. But ultimately, even him is only, like you said, only knows so much. He only knows what's going on at that base currently or whatever.
That's
but
what gets so frustrating. The hurry up and wait. You're out there. They get you at the airfield. I know we was getting ready to go to South Korea for, I think, Team Spirit they did at the time. And so we're out there on the runway at 0 dark 30. Then the sun comes up. You're laying out there just baking probably for 6-7 hours. Like, what do we get here like an hour before? So then you're all sweating, get up.
Hurry
and I think it
up
was
and wait.
C5, the biggest.
every
I've ever
military
seen
guy
like that.
says that phrase.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's
Because that's what you do. It's leadership. Somebody's always waiting on somebody. Right. So it's okay. Well, you know, Travis is Alpha Platoon's platoon leader, right? So he's got to hurry up and get his platoon down to the motor pool because they got to do preventative maintenance on their Humvees. And then I got platoon Bravo, so I'm taking Bravo platoon, and we got to go do. We got to go clean all of our weapons. Right. But that is just to, you know, essentially waste time because there's a big formation later on in that afternoon that we're all going to be an hour early to because the first sergeant's got 5 meetings that he's got to have before he comes out and even starts that.
Okay.
And then he's waiting on the captain to come out and take over. And we're all just waiting on somebody.
it's all just staggered so
I
much.
just see how well you can handle this bullshit.
Sure,
You know?
yeah.
So it's part of the training too, which is very frustrating. You know.
Because when you go down range, you're going to be dealing with a whole bunch of BS that.
That's why
know,
you'll see some angry veterans
it is.
sometimes at Walmart in the line. They get kind of tore up. I've learned not to do that now. I take a step back, say, okay.
Now the truth comes out.
Oh, it's awful. Yeah, I understand what he's talking about.
Yeah, so you just got to take a step back and say, okay, that's not my child. That's not my circus.
I love it. I love it.
It ain't my monkey. I ain't going to hold the tail.
That's it.
Yeah, I love that. All right, so you got out of the Army, or out of the Army, went to the Marines, got out of the Marines. 95?
93 is when I got out of the Marine Corps, but I stayed 2 more years in the reserves.
Okay.
In the infantry reserves when I got deployed to Cuba. But at the time, I got a job at Bridgestone Firestone in McMinnville, Tennessee. I was built tires, and I was a quality
Warren
assurance
County.
engineer for a while.
Yeah.
So great job for a long time, but I didn't have no passion in it. You know, then my friend got killed in 2009. He was a state trooper. He was with me at DC station with me there. One of my best friends. We used to go home on leave. Him and my other friend, Thomas Rabjohn. But Richard got killed in the line of duty as an Indiana state trooper. His daughter was just 6 months old. You know, that took a big toll on me. Then I went through a divorce about that same time when he was killed. Then I found out 2009. Also, my friend Thomas Rabjohn, I told you we used to go home together. He got out and became an Arizona police officer, but got called back up, served in Iraq, and then was killed in Afghanistan by an IED. And you know, you have a lot of survivor's guilt with that, and you just have a lot of guilt, and you're just pissed off, you know, that my friends are gone. You know, so you don't have that when you get older. Then just a few years ago, my brother died, so you keep losing people. You know, it's very hard to get through that sometimes, and you see a lot of veterans that suffer with PTSD and different things like that, and so I was just sitting in a bar one time thinking about my friends, what I could do to honor them and, you know, raise my glass to them. And I sat in a VFW, and so I got the idea of a vodka well, not vodka, just spirits, but I went into Murfreesboro to the Small Business Administration there, talked to a guy who's actually a Korean War veteran.
Okay.
And he was giving me advice. We talked about bottled water. I was talking about bottled water at first, and then we started talking about spirits. And that's when I found out that vodka you can make today and sell tomorrow. You ain't got to age it like you do bourbon. It outsells all the other ones combined, you know. So I was wanting to make the best thing I could to make the most I could, because the more I make, the more I can give back, basically. So that was kind of the ideal. And I wanted, our mission is to create exceptional taste and superior value while honoring veterans and first responders.
So what year was that?
That is probably 2009 when I'm. 2009, between 2009 and 2011, I'm kind of in the research mode, learning all I can about the spirits industry. So that's when I found out the vodka. When I started learning about vodka, I went out and bought all the mini bottles you could find of different vodkas. So every weekend, me and my buddy, Jason McKinnon, lives in Florida now, used to live here, we'd have a few cocktails, you know, and the ones we liked, we'd put to the side, the brand we liked, and 1 week in a month, we'd overindulge in it, kind of see what it did to you. Because I was trying to find the healthiest way to drink if you're going to drink. kind of a crazy Marine thing to do like that. So,
I love that. That's great.
So I started doing the research, and that's when I found out that the corn grain vodka is the healthiest way to drink if you're going to drink. Because everybody started talking about gluten-free wasn't even a word when I first started. You know, it started coming out later, and that's kind of a con in a lot of ways, because most spirits through the process are naturally gluten-free, especially corn. Corn's naturally gluten-free, but the thing is, it's glycerin-free, corn is. So glycerin is what dehydrates your body on a molecular level and gives you more of a hangover. Now, if you drink too many drinks, you're going to get a hangover anyway because you dehydrate yourself. But if you drink a cocktail, then 8 ounces of water continuously, you'll feel a lot better the next day, and you'll thank me for that if you do that. So.
Yes.
Travis out here passing out tips right here in summertime.
Yeah.
So
And I was thinking of what my friends were to me. These were my heroes, you know, the people, you know, the greatest generation, and then the people I served with, losing friends and things like that. And I couldn't believe nobody had the name, you know, in the spirits category. Actually, there was a guy in Mexico at Heroes Prepared Cocktails, had a train on the front of it. That backed me up about a year and a half of attorney fees, about $10,000 that cost probably to fight that. I had to go through the import-export. He never exported to the United States, so, you know, his trademark really wasn't any good. So we finally settled that where I could get the green flag to go. But luckily, my business attorney told me about a man named Robert Lippman. He owns Lippman Brothers. His family started state permit #1 for distributing, the first distributor of Jack Daniels. And my attorney said, you need to talk to Robert Lippman. So I said, what can you do? Say no. You know, I've heard that before. So I actually called him. He answered it on his phone, answered his own phone, and said, buddy, I've got 150 different vodkas in my warehouse, but since you're a veteran, I'll give you 15 minutes. So that's when I set up a meeting, came in a nice suit, had my PowerPoint already, and I already had a bottle of vodka distilled. I found a distiller in Colorado to make it for me, and I already had the packaging done and everything, and he was very impressed by that. But he said, you know, how much do you know about the spirits industry? Absolutely nothing, just Marine Corps found it in a bar, and, you know, I figured I could figure it out. He said, I'm very impressed, but your passion is what I really makes me believe in you and why you're doing this. So he said, I can help you in a lot of ways. So, you know, that's when he introduced me to Mark Brown, the CEO of Buffalo Trace, which is one of the oldest distillers, going to turn 250 years old this year, the same age as the Marine Corps is going to be. So had to go up there and meet him, and he said he saw the same thing that Robert saw, was my passion and why I wanted to do this. So he went over a bunch of things with me. Said, don't put a cork in your bottle. You know, that's a waste of money. Most of the bartenders, you know, want to spin it off like that, because they had a vodka called Rain Vodka, which had this synthetic cork in it. He said, unless you want to pay $8 more for a cork. So he gave me a lot of good advice, you know, what not to do and what you should do. And then I'd studied Sidney Frank, the creator of Grey Goose. You know, he's one of the first ones. So I think for $2 billion he sold Grey Goose for, which is astronomical at the time. And what he did, he had the distribution rights for Jägermeister for the East Coast. And the West Coast, the guy didn't pay his bill, so eventually he got the full distribution rights for the whole country. So when he started talking about vodka, Absolute Vodka was the top vodka at the time. He said, I bet if I make a vodka, say it's made in France, in a fancy bottle, people will buy it. So they're so pretentious. So he was right, and that's what he did. But he had the distribution, so he would go into the bartenders when they bought a case of Jägermeister, they'd get a bottle of Grey Goose, and started pushing that, because he had all the Jägerette girls anyway. He's the one who introduced those into the colleges and all that stuff. So I'm thinking, I think the American people are patriotic enough that they'll pay a little bit less for a great vodka than Grey Goose, you know. So that's when I came up with Heroes, and so far we've won 7 gold medals, 5 silver, in some of the biggest competitions in the world. And my price is a lot less than Grey Goose and even Tito's. Tito's is a phenomenal brand, a phenomenal story. Great guy, too. I think his brand's worth about $4 billion now. He's never sold out yet. So there's so much opportunity here, and I'm just a very small fish. You know,
Now you've been fully operational now for how long?
about 15 years now.
So 15 years you've been pushing Heroes Vodka.
Yeah.
So and
Launched on 11/11/11, which only happens once in a century. So we did that. So I just came right around
That's
that time.
outstanding.
Smart.
That's why, because Buffalo Trace also has about 40 or 50 veterans that works there. The warehouse manager was 11 Bravo in Afghanistan. The bottling manager, I think she was the 7th class of female cadets at West Point. So, you know, I think
Nice.
their chief operating officers a West Point graduate. So,
that's outstanding.
yeah.
So 15 years ago, you launched this vodka, and it's just you.
Well, actually, Robert Littman is invested into the company, so he's,
Okay.
yeah, so he's one
Okay.
of my main investors with actually my
Yep.
own investor. So,
Yep.
you know, to have his knowledge and his distribution power, you know,
Yeah.
which I've learned a lot from. But then the pandemic came and we was doing really, really good. The pandemic came, and a lot of people don't know the supply chain, how it got. You probably know in your
Crushed.
industry, it got
Yeah.
crushed.
Crushed.
And a lot of the small distributors that we did business with, especially in New York and Florida and a lot of those places, got bought out by some really big companies. You know, so now we're having to redo our distribution. Also, this was our old packaging right here. And so a focus group came in and did a bunch of studies on it, which they do, and they came up with the bottle here, which, you know, I think looks a lot better. It looks a lot very high end and everything
does.
like that.
It does.
So we still got the
agree.
veteran owned on the bottle, which is very, very important to us. Our first bottle on 11/11/11 Veterans Day. And on the very first bottle, it's got a picture of me. And you can scan that, and it's got me telling the story of it, you know, like that. So,
That's awesome.
But I don't consider myself a hero. I've been among of them, but I want to inspire people, you know, that if I can do this, they can do this. There's other ways to honor veterans and support them.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, I want to talk about the back of the bottle and the heroes and all the things. So y'all give us 1 second, take a listen to this. We'll be right back. What's going on, guys? I'm your man, Charlie Eblin, the owner of Single Tree Barbecue, located right here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, 2805 Old Fort Parkway. We're open Tuesday through Saturday from 11 until 8 p.m. and on Sundays from 11 to 3. If you want some smoked wings all the way to some Texas-style smoked brisket, y'all come see us. We have some amazing lunch specials during the week and outstanding barbecue right here in the Middle Tennessee area. We can't wait to see you guys. Welcome back, guys. I'm your man, Charlie Evelyn. As always, we have our illustrious co-host, Mr. Derry Wells. Today, we have Travis McVey, and we are talking about Heroes Vodka. He is the founder and just an all-around amazing human being. I love him to
Appreciate
death. This vodka is amazing. I can tell you the founder's tea. We may not have the mint, but
I finished mine.
Good.
It's delicious, and it will sneak up on you. So drink responsibly. But so you started this for your friends,
Yeah.
right? In remembrance of the people that give us the freedom that we have
Yeah, go
every
above
single
and
day,
beyond,
right?
You know.
Now, tell us about this new packaging. You said the first bottle's got your face on it,
Yes.
right? That's
Yeah.
great. But you've launched a campaign about putting other people's faces
Yeah, it's
on
called
the
the
back.
Legacy Project. So we expanded the program, not just to veterans, but first responders and teachers. People make a real impact and make a difference in our communities that go above and beyond. So that's a lot of people inspire me. My teachers, you know, have that foundation. And when you're young to like for my service, I knew a lot of teachers that served in World War II and Korea and things like that. So that was a big inspiration to me. But yeah, we're doing a contest right now called the Legacy Project. You can go to heroesvodka.com. Click on the Legacy Project, and it'll tell you how to enter that. You send a video, you nominate someone, and that person that we choose will have their face on the bottle and their story, and they get to pick the charity that we give back to. So we're giving back to Team RWB, which is a great organization, has chapters all throughout the United States. Mike Irwin, Lieutenant Colonel, started that, which gets veterans out, gets them in shape, gets them out of the house, which, you know, isolation is one of the biggest killers
Yep.
of a lot of people. And also the Night Stalkers Association, which is the Special Forces aviators. There's some amazing things. So we do a lot of stuff for their scholarships, for their the fallen children. And also they do like a summer camp every year. And then locally, the Legion Fund, which is for 5th Group Special Forces up in Fort Campbell, we do some things with them as well. But we've supported a lot of different charities, from AMVATS to the VFW to Operation Stand Down, and a bunch like that.
So, how do people submit people for the?
Yeah, go to the heroesvodka.com and go to the Legacy Project. Be on our website. You can click on that. It's got all the information how to do that.
Okay.
So it's pretty simple. I think it's just a video and the information you put on there, I believe.
Okay. And now, do you have a panel of people that are reviewing that, or
Yes.
you
No, just
you
be
going
me.
through all of
'Cause
that?
I got too many friends. Just like I say, look, you know. So I don't get in trouble. I don't get in
That's a
trouble
lot of
that way.
applications real
Yeah.
quick.
But I do wish, a lot of people would enter that, so it's a big opportunity. It's a great way to showcase our heroes. You can nominate
sure.
some of yourself. You don't have to nominate yourself,
Yeah.
nominate someone else. But there's a lot of great organizations out there, that people support that we would like to know
Now,
about.
is this living or past?
You got to be living. I'm sorry. You got to be
Okay.
living. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So they need to be a current living hero.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the world or in the United
In
States?
the United States.
Gotcha.
Yeah, all the
Okay.
rules and regulations on there. So I
Okay.
got to go back and review that myself a little
Just
bit.
real quick,
Yeah.
I pulled it up.
I just ask a lot of questions.
Sure. No, I've got that. Nominations are open until August 4th.
August 4th.
You've got a 2-minute video sharing why you're nominating your hero, and then any files that can be uploaded. And it's got the email address to send that to. And then you've got the full link that you can, send your nomination to. So 21 years and up. And if you're nominating someone else, must have their consent to do so. And then no purchase necessary. So
Yeah.
there you go.
That's outstanding.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Hey, look, I'm a whiz on the
Yeah.
Look, if you
Website.
if you were listening or watching this show currently, go nominate someone. We all know someone that is well deserving of that honor. And I don't envy what you guys are going to have to shuffle through, and the stories you're going to have to read, because I can imagine the emotions that I would personally have just
I get
reading and
letters
listening
already
some
from
of
people
those.
reach out to me, to donate and stuff like that. It breaks my heart because you can't help everybody, for different things.
Now,
It's
you
just-
already give back just
10%
from selling
of
your
our
vodka,
profits.
right?
We've given back over $250,000 so far, and a lot of in-kind donations of signed bottles and things like that, which I'll leave you all one here. This is our bottle that goes into all the bars and restaurants. So what we did there to save money, you won't have the picture on the back of that. That helps us keep the price down.
Yep.
Because prices are going up everywhere, but our prices haven't went up in, a long time, So, so we're, like I say, we're the house vodka for a lot of the great restaurants here in Nashville too,
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well,
So it's great.
we love
a lot,
that.
A lot of companies want to support veteran-owned companies. It's American-made, especially, that give back. So it's a win-win for everybody. That's what I like to do in business, where you make it a win-win for everybody.
So you've been doing this for 15 years.
Yeah.
And one of the things I like to talk about in my show is entrepreneurship and how we all got started, because we're all, I think military vets make great entrepreneurs, because we're all batshit crazy.
Right, yeah.
So,
Very naive, too, in the business.
yeah.
we can put it the kind way. You're all just 2 clicks off.
If I knew what I know now, I'm glad I didn't know all I know now.
Sure.
I've been really scared to start.
What was one of the first, like in the first 5 years, first 3 years, first year, whatever, what's one of the biggest things that you wish you would have known to sidestep that landmine? Because I know there's more than one.
Yeah. Well, the first year I started, this was just me putting it all in my head, putting it down, going to FedEx, Kinko's here, cutting and pasting, doing these little things. I was doing research and all that. I had to get a distiller's permit. I had to do all that. But then I had all the naysayers. I was still working at Bridgestone at the time. You're stupid. You can't do this. This is crazy, But I didn't listen to them. But, what I wish I would have done, when we first started out, everybody loves the story and the ideal, but you got to change people's buying habits. We kind of spread out too fast first. We should have just stayed in Tennessee and got that home, because you would sell it in your backyard, you can sell it anywhere. So that's what Robert Litton always told me. So that's what we're concentrating on now, going back to doing that. We're still in Florida. We're still in Ohio, doing very well. Georgia, we still need to amp everything up there. And then a few other states, we're just kind of putting them off until we get everything back in place, get the distribution in place. But we're in the Marine Corps MCX exchanges. They're the first ones to have the half-gallon bottles right here, which I'm very proud of. It goes back into glass, which these are
It's a good-looking bottle.
Nice. Yeah, it's got, and their picture will be on this too. Whoever wins the contest, so they'll be in the half-gallons and on the 750s.
That's awesome.
But yeah. So we still have a lot of the old packages in the stores. You'll see a lot, especially here in Murfreesboro and Nashville areas, which I really like the old packaging in a way, but I really like the upgrade for that. But if you see this out there, this will never be out there again. So grab them up while you can.
It'd be the last. It could be to have the last bottle of the original packaging.
So you never know when something's going to take off. You know, some people think it's an overnight success, but it's usually a 10 to 15 years. I think it took Mr. Tito 10, 11, 12 years. You know, he came out right at the right time when people were looking for
I don't know who
products.
said it, but someone said that if you want to start a business and you're not willing to wait a minimum of 5 years to make a penny, don't start the business.
Gosh.
Right.
Because that's what it takes, a minimum of 5 years.
Yeah.
And that hits me so hard. Like so incredibly hard, because I look at it like honestly my health and some of my recent goals. I've really been trying to lose weight. Me and Derry both have been working really, really hard on trying to just get better and be healthier and do things a little bit different. And it's the first time in a long time, but I got on the scale this morning. When I started this journey of really pushing hard, probably 6 months ago?
Yeah. Thereabouts.
Ish.
Yeah. Ish.
Somewhere in that neighborhood. We'll round.
February.
You know, I was 241 pounds. And I had lost about 13 or 14 pounds.
Right.
And I got on the scale this morning and I was 241 pounds. And I'm eating better. I'm drinking gallons of water every day. Like, I mean, but it's the it's the delayed gratification.
Right.
Right. If you want that instant, I gotta see a result today, then entrepreneurship it's
lightning in a ball, they call it, but it don't really happen.
It's not a
Fireball was kind of lightning in a ball there, but they had the distribution. That was Sazerac that owns Buffalo Trace.
Right.
So they had the model, but they did 2 states to start that out with. They were very smart about that. They promoted the hell out of it. They had all the money and the backing to do that. They already had products in the bar that people have to have and different things like that. So that makes a big difference too.
I was talking to a buddy of mine and he is launching a brand. And I would tell you the brand, but I'm about to say something financial, so I don't want to put the two together, but he's launching a brand in the United States. And it's been a while back, but he said something about spending about like $40,000 on some marketing. And I went, what, how much? $40,000 on market. What do you mean? And like, I don't like spending $4.
Right.
We're going up against companies with $2 or $3 million a year.
Right.
You know?
Right. And you got to figure out how to figure it out. And that's not always the easiest thing to do, but you know.
And that's why it's just me. When I go out, I have about a 99% success rate, because when I tell my story, people, I don't want them to feel obligated, you know, because I've had a guy say, I've heard every, I said, I ain't caring. I've heard every story there is. I said, well, just give me 5 minutes, man. I don't care if you like it or not, but just hear my story out. And he said, well, by God, I've never heard a story like that. I appreciate you picked up my product. You know, it's just that personal touch going into it. People's the story is what sells it. That'll get them to buy it the first time. But you got to make sure you have good juice in that bottle.
Have a good product.
You know, and to have that name on it, I felt obligated, you know, to call it Heroes. That's got to be some good stuff. But it's also going to be affordable. But I know how much vodka costs to be made now. I don't know how they're charging what they do. It's that marketing budget and that big fancy bottle, you know.
Now, somebody told me vodka is like one step away from being tequila. Or is it tequila that's one step away from being vodka?
I'm not sure. I know tequila is the only, what do you call it, stimulant. The rest of them are kind of depressants, you know, with that. But I'm not sure. I just started learning about tequila. Tequila is a very popular thing right now, especially everything's going to healthier things, no additives and all that stuff. So I know you pay like $200 some for a bottle of tequila now. It's crazy.
Yes.
But I've seen whiskey bottles for $6,000. I'm like, man. And I've tasted some of these. And I'm like,
I had the privilege to open up a bottle that was closing in on the $2,000 one time. And the guy who had it was just like, yeah, go crack it open. And I looked at him like, and he like actively handed me the cork and cutter to break the little seal on whatever. And I said, because it's his bottle.
Right.
And I didn't want to be that guy. And he did it. And of course, it wasn't a big deal for him because I got 4 or 5 of those. I said, "Oh, okay." So like, I'm not taking your one off on
the one bottle.
Enjoy.
But I truly enjoyed it. Like, it was a different experience for me. It was something that I'm not going to ever going to have that, that's not a regular thing for me by any means.
Right.
But it was an enjoyable evening. We had some good times and that kind of thing. And then you wind up realizing, like, there are some stuff out there. Like you said, some of these bottles are just wild.
Yeah.
I, like my everyday commoner person, I need to be able to just go pick it up, make sure I can afford it.
Yeah.
Now,
And
here's
hopefully still
something-
get a good product.
Here's a question for you,
Yeah.
and this will roll into Mac or Beans. But,
Okay.
So, what I have found, and you may have, because you've had some high end stuff too. Some of those bottles, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 bottles. I've had a lot of bourbons like that. I've had some tequilas like that. I think a vodka bottle that was pretty expensive, but or gin, not vodka. Long story short, I've liked them.
Right.
And went, oh man, that was pretty good. But if I was going to compare it to my $75 bottle of bourbon that I have at the house,
Right.
I'm going to stick with the seven. There's never a day I'm going to go $75 for this that's pretty tasty,
Right.
or $3,000 for this that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Especially
You
with
know what I
vodka,
mean?
a lot of people mix it. They put all kinds of sweeteners and everything, so you really can't taste the vodka. But you got to make sure you have quality ingredients. That's what makes the vodka good. So we have great corn and everything in our process. So that's why a lot of vodkas. You can find a great bottle of vodka under $20. You really
Yep.
can. So especially if you're mixing it with different things, but
It's
you
right
want to
here in
feel
front of
better.
you.
But you want to feel better the next day. That's the difference you're going to tell from a bottle
Yeah.
of some rock gut they call jet fuel. Drinking that compared to a quality vodka like that. Same way with
Now-
bourbons.
You may not give me an honest answer, but I'm going to ask it anyways. Have you always been a vodka guy, or is vodka been something prior to starting Heroes? Were you a bourbon guy and now you drink vodka all the time, or?
Well,
or-
I had at a young age, I played quarter bounce with bourbon, unfortunately. So bourbon, I'm trying to learn how to drink again, so I don't do a lot of this. So that's why I do drink vodka. But the main reason I chose vodka, it wasn't about what I liked. It's about what sold the most.
I got you.
And what's the quickest that you can make. And
Yeah.
that's when I found out, the vodka outsells all the other spirit categories, and you don't have to age it like you do barrels of whiskey. That's why I understand why some of this stuff is so high.
Yeah. And the more you sell, the more impact you can
get
make,
back,
and which is incredible.
So a lot of people always say they want to support veteran-owned business, American-made products, and give back to veterans. You can do this all with one purchase right here.
Yeah.
But you know how hard it is to change people's buying habits. They'll know you and they'll forget. They're going to the liquor store. They've heard Tito's or Grey Goose so many times. They just automatically pick it up.
Yeah.
So I've been in
Yeah.
a liquor store before, but I told them I love that when they were picking up a bottle of Tito's or Grey Goose or whatever it is. And I tell them my store, and they go back and put it up and come and get mine. That always brings a smile to me. With that.
Look, I love your vodka. I've been
appreciate
drinking it for years. So every show, Travis, we do a Mac or Beans. It's a this or that segment. We always start out with, when you go to a barbecue restaurant, do you get the macaroni and cheese, or do you get the beans?
I'm a bean guy.
Okay.
Yeah, especially now when I'm trying to eat healthier too. The mac and cheese, I can get too much into that.
It adds a
I know you
layer.
have good mac and cheese though, so it's
Pretty
that's the
tasty.
thing.
tasty.
So the
It's
beans,
pretty
I'm very
tasty.
particular. Beans, I don't like the green peppers and the onions in mine. I like the flavor of it, but I don't like.
Yeah.
I never could. I'm just not an onion guy. My mom said she ate them out of the garden when she was pregnant with me. But
Yeah, I did that when I was a kid. It's a little weird,
yeah.
but anything's good with salt on it.
My brother could pick them out of the ground and eat them too, like that. I just never could do it.
So our primary sponsor of the show is Toast POS, Toast Tab. They provide most of the technology that we use for the restaurant, right?
Okay.
All of my POS equipment, some digital stuff as well, some SaaS. What in that side of the world of hospitality is changing so rapidly all the
gosh,
time,
yeah.
right? So what technology do you guys use in your business that's really changing how things are done?
Well, the reports usually go on Salesforce, where I think that's what it's called, where I get my
Yep.
reports from everything, which is a big network. It takes a lot of training to get used to that too. Some of it I'm sure I can learn to do better, but I can find all the liquor license in a certain area. I can do a route where I can go there if I want to drive and go to that. I can pick it out by just VFWs. I can pick it about just American Legions. That's very, very helpful. But you know, I see all the restaurants, all the different technology they got now, you know, because a lot of times don't have really menus now. You just scan a QR code, which kind of hurts us the way some like table tents, some don't. So I got to deal with table tents sometimes, menu placements.
What's
things
your
like that.
opinion? Just somebody asked me a question the other day about QR codes. So just when you go into a restaurant, if they don't have an actual menu, and all they have is a QR code, you don't like it?
I don't like just the QR code. Yeah. It took me a while. I guess I'm older. The younger people, I guess, are so used to QR code. We get older, we kind of resist technology sometimes.
Yep.
And I finally figured out how to do it on my phone and different things. You've got with parking now. You've got to scan a QR
Yeah.
code to
Yeah.
go in there. So I'm slowly.
I got a ticket for that. I didn't see the QR code.
What's great about it though, if they have like the QR code on here, which I love because anybody can scan that and they got the story of Heroes Vodka right there. That's a great thing. Like if you get on a menu, I can put a table tent up now. Yeah. And the bartender, so you want to know about the brand here, scan this. That does help out a lot.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
So, but yeah, it's been a long journey, but you know, it's not been easy. You still have kind of a roller coaster, you know. I still don't think I've made it yet, but you always keep thinking that, you know, I want to be as big as Tito's one day. I really hope we can, because imagine how much that we could do for the communities.
You're in
we had
5 states? 4 states?
We're approved in much more states. We're only active probably in about 4 or 5 states now. We're concentrating. We're doing a big revamp with a new label coming out now with Tennessee being, like I said, your backyard. You got to keep
When do you think the new labels will hit the shelves?
Now, these should be out here pretty soon in the stores around here in Tennessee pretty soon.
Okay.
We've still got the half gallons may not be until October, November. It's going how quickly we go through them. So we're trying to do a big push doing more tastings. So that helps. So you guys spend a lot of tastings too in stores, and people come and actually get to try the product, hear the story firsthand. And I can't be everywhere at once, and so you've got to be picky on the people that does these, you know, these tasting things. I try to do 1 or 2 a month myself, but I've had to cut back from that here recently. We've had some health stuff going on, but I'm trying to get back into that now. And we try to get the community involved. We just did a thing with Memorial Day. I had a bunch of volunteers go to the National Veterans Cemetery up there in Madison and clean a bunch of the statues. And I had the manager of the cemetery come out and give a speech and talk to all the employees that work for Lippman, our distributor. They learn more about the veteran community and the sacrifice. When you see that, when you see that cemetery and you see all those white tombstones in a row like that, a lot of people get it then. You know, the price of freedom is not free, you know, so there's a cost to that. And, you know, we've been raising our glasses to our warriors for centuries, and I thought it was about time we have our own brand. You know, that's American-made, veteran-owned, and gives back with every purchase. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
I love it.
I just wish the veteran community, like I say, if they get behind it more and more, we have a lot of veterans behind it. A lot of them don't know about it. They're in Texas or California. They're trying to get it. We're in Texas. We just have a big footprint there. You just have to keep requesting it and things like that. That's what helps more than anything. That people, you just keep telling your liquor store, hey, look, I want this.
Yeah. No, it's great.
Yeah.
It's great. I love it. You got a good Friday feel good somewhere in there?
I think it's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
So I've been enjoying my summer break as a teacher and being able to unwind a little bit, especially now some of my trainings are done. So I'm excited about it. And I got to reading and doing some stuff, and I saw something the other day, and the question was asked, are you burned out, or are you having reasonable reactions to never-ending barrage of bad news of things which you can do very little about? And so don't equate what is an abundance of things that are out of your control to your burnout, because sometimes you just got to refocus, resettle, and keep putting one foot in front of the other. Y'all just do find somebody you know, tell them you love them.
Cheers to that.
That's it.
Cheers. Travis, how can people find Heroes Vodka, where it's being sold, socials, all the things?
Well, we're on Instagram, Heroes Vodka. Also Facebook, Heroes Vodka. I think that's the only we have a LinkedIn page. I don't do a lot on LinkedIn, but mostly Instagram. We share that on Facebook. And then a lot of here in Tennessee, Smyrna, Murfreesboro, you find a lot of your local liquor stores here, or just ask for it. Lippman Brothers is our distributor here in Tennessee. Ohio, it's Heidelberg, and I forget some of the other states distributors we have, but mainly want to focus right here in Tennessee for the time being.
And then that website is, what's your website?
www.heroesvodka.com. That's HEROES vodka.com. A lot of people forget that E in there sometimes.
Yeah. And if you got a hero, go to the website.
Yeah, nominate.
There's a link on there to nominate any and all of your heroes, and all the rules and regulations will be on there.
I normally wouldn't do this.
that.
Y'all's website is wildly easy to navigate.
Yeah, we want to
And
make it very, very
it's
simple.
very presentable. It's clean. It's sharp. So for anybody that does do that, it's
I appreciate it. Yeah, we encourage them to follow us on our socials. You know, it helps us grow the footprint more, the algorithm. It gets that out there more. You know, the algorithm, I never can understand the thing, you know, with all the money you can
None of us
spend on
can.
that stuff too. We're starting to do more social stuff too with the Littman brands because actually we're managed by Littman brands. So that's how I have the perfect kind of thing though. So we have a management team that really helps me with a lot of day-to-day stuff and really handles that stuff. So that way I can go out and be the face of the brand, talk to people, give a personal story with that and talk about our give back.
Now, are you managing the socials, or do you have somebody doing
We
that
have
for
somebody
you?
that helps with it. I give a lot of input to that, and I'll, you know, and like some of the, we're starting to do videos of me actually talking on there, which I've not been very comfortable with. You guys are doing the podcast.
You're doing
I did a
great,
few of
man.
these, but
I saw one the other day. I was stoked. I was like, look at him. He's doing awesome. That's great.
So I've actually was on Chelsea Handler show back in the day, if you remember her.
Yeah.
I was on there for a White House chef friend of mine. So we it was around Veterans Day, so we made Jello shooters.
Yeah.
For that red, white, and blue, and that's when Chewy, the little short person guy, was on there, and so he was a recovering alcoholic, so he hasn't drank. So we had to, the way we did it, we made his in a Mexican flag, and ours like an American flag. That way he would know, you know, that didn't have
Which one
alcohol
was
in it.
which?
Yeah, so we made some wings with the Heroes Vodka sauce because you can cook with vodka too, as you know. So a lot of people do that. So then I was on Fox with Charles Payne. I did that once. So
Okay.
it was pretty nerve wracking, but it was great once we got on there. I found out the camera guy was an Air Force veteran. A lot of people at Fox were Air Force veterans too. So
I've been trying to get on Fox and Friends for the last couple of years. They keep having barbecue people from Tennessee, and I'm like, y'all
Pick
forget
your
to
boy
pick
up.
me,
Yeah,
man.
that's right.
there you go.
You know, but you know, the last I reached out to Hegseth on his socials.
Yeah.
And then he got nominated for secretary, and I was like, man, he ain't gonna respond to me.
Nope.
Yeah, a friend of mine started Pocket Square Heroes. You see the American flag?
Yeah,
Heroes up there?
yeah.
That's my friend started that. Yeah,
Oh,
he's a
that's
Marine
awesome.
Corps veteran.
That's
yeah.
awesome. But look, I reached out to him because Hegseth lives here in Tennessee.
Oh, okay.
Lives in Nashville.
Yeah, yeah.
So well, I was thinking, okay, hey, if I can get him to acknowledge, maybe I can figure it out.
Sure.
But, you know, they got another brand.
Yeah.
We won't mention who it is. So, but look, Travis, I appreciate you coming to hang out
That was
with
an
us.
honor. Thank you for the platform.
Look, if y'all want to get involved with Heroes, please go to the website, nominate your heroes today. Travis is going to be doing that until August 4th.
Yep.
Is that right? How cool would it be to have one of our local heroes on the back of the bottle all over the country and telling their story as well? Absolutely incredible. Travis, you're an amazing human being.
Appreciate it, Charlie. Thank you.
Killer product. Thanks for hanging out with us.
It's fun.
You guys know what to do. Please give me a call if you want to get involved with the show, 615-307-0120. You can send me an email at charlie@singletreebbq.com. And until next time, guys, we'll see you then.
Y'all be good.
Cheers.
Thanks for joining us today. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, leave us a 5-star review and come see us at the restaurant.